I've got an open door policy, and I think this is great for the podcast as well. Everyone's so caught up with, oh, don't come in, this and that. Like, open door policy, we've got the ability to work at home. If my son, he's 4 years old, comes in, his emotions are different to ours, so he needs me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what meeting I'm on either. If I'm on a meeting with executives, whatever, I'll do this because he needs me, and we're all human beings.
Benji Donhardt, welcome to the Dad's Project podcast. How are you, sir?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Really, really good, mate. How are you?
I am doing well, man. Pumped to have you on the show. I know we've been working on this for a couple weeks. It is 7 a.m. in Australia where you are, so I'm just grateful you're taking the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Always, mate. Always been up since, I think, 4:30 I got up, straight to the gym, smashed a workout. Already had 2 calls for the workday, so it's been good.
Yeah, getting after it. I love it.
Always.
Benji, you're one of the most joyful, kind, loving, passionate men I have literally ever met in my life. Where does that come from?
That's me. That's who Benji is. Benji is playful. He's fun. He's serious when he needs to be. It's the way I always have been ever since I was a little kid. So ever since I was a boy, a little baby, I've always been that way. I remember there were stories my mum would tell me of just like running up to strangers and saying hello and cuddling them, and being probably not great, but like just that's who I've always been. Just a friendly, joyful person. I live life to the fullest. That's my motto. It's you could be dead tomorrow. Why not be yourself? Be who you are, and don't get in shy away. And I'm not saying that everyone has to be extroverted like that, and that's who I am, but it's just what I'm like. And through my upbringing, it was parents were together since I was obviously born till I was about 8 years old. Then they split. That's when my world was turned upside down, like completely. Yeah. So it was pretty rough. But parents were split.
Do you think that joy, that big personality, that love was part of that, where things got turned upside down? And I would love for you to share a little bit of that story, but is that something that you put in place to like keep that joy?
Yeah, I think subconsciously as a kid, yes. Like I've always been that outgoing person doing fitness, like being out, like up early, like doing everything outdoors, doing all that sort of stuff. And when my parents split, I was like, fuck, it was my real first taste of like failure in life. Like I looked at it as shit. They've failed there. This is a really bad thing. But looking back on it, and obviously it was a really good thing because my dad and mum weren't great together. They were always arguing, always fighting. There was never any violence or anything, but they were always arguing, and just it wasn't a good. I still remember a lot of the arguments and fights. But then my mum quickly remarried when they split, and she met an absolute, as a kid, a monster. Like he was fucking horrible. Like. Yeah, there was times where, a lot of domestic violence, times where I remember the first time I seen my mum's head get put through a gyprock wall. Like, walked out of my bedroom at 12 o'clock at night because I could hear them arguing and fighting. This is my stepdad and mum. And I, walked out, and then he's got her by the hair, and just still remember it clear as day. It's like I'm looking at a photo, just bang, straight through the wall, and then he looked at me, what the fuck are you doing up? And then started chasing me down the hallway. And then we had this big, sort of really big split-level house, so had the bottom floor, and then there was like 5 steps up to the next level, and that's where all the bedrooms were. And there was a staircase at each end. And I remember running from where my parents' room and our rooms were all the way to the other end of the hallway, down the stairs, and then back down where he was. And I could see him looking at me, and he jumped over this wall, and then I'm straight out the back, straight down underneath the house. We had a big veranda that overlooked the acreage property we were on. So I went straight down and, straight under the house, and just hid and slept there for the whole night. And it was middle of winter in the Blue Mountains, and I remember thinking, "Fuck! Like, is this my life? Like, how is my life like this right now?" I think I was about 10, maybe. I was about 10, in between 10 and 11 years old, and I was like, "Fuck! Like, what's happened?" Like, and then I would have like flashbacks to when my real dad and mum were together. Yes, they argued, but it wasn't that bad, and I was just like, "I want that back. I want that safety." So that going through that, and that was a weekly occurrence. Like there was either sleeping under the house, or eventually he figured out what I was doing and where I was, and he'd come and looking, and then I would start walking, or like just walking the streets. So I'd walk and walk and walk. I remember walking to a friend's place that we had. One of my mum's friends, I think she was one of my hairdresser of my mum or something. And I remember walking to her place. It was probably about 8 kilometres, I think. So I think I left at about 10 at night because they kicked off. And I walked. I remember I just had a T-shirt on, no undies, no boxer shorts, no nothing. And I walked 8 kilometres down the road. I still remember my mum coming to, like, she drove. They were both drinking. So one, I didn't want to hop in the car when she was drinking. And 2, I didn't want to get taken back there because what my mum would do, she would get us in the car if they kicked off and then drive, and then she'd always take us back. She'd always bring us back, and she'd always usually wait till we were asleep to bring us back, but I just didn't want to be there. So I remember that day I'd see her drive past and I'd hide in the bushes on the side of the road, then I'd keep walking, then I'd hide, then I'd keep walking. And it was, yeah. So I think even at school, like I wasn't great at school, it was really hard, but I've just always been positive. Like I've always been an outgoing person, and even though that was happening to me, I was still breathing. I still sometimes had a roof over my head. I still knew I had options. So year 8 at school, I was getting picked on by, I think he was in year 10, so a couple of years older. He was picking on me, just kept pushing me in the back, pushing me, antagonised me. And I got picked on a lot at school because we were very poor. Mum used to get us shoes from the op shop. Clothes weren't like great because they'd spend all their money on alcohol. But anyway, so I'd always be picked on, and this kid was picking on me, and I just remember he pushed me once and then slapped me in the back of the head, and it just, something switched inside of me, and I turned around and beat the absolute living shit out of him. And not that I'm proud of it, but it's just what happened. And I remember seeing my stepdad's face as I was doing it, and it scared me. It scared me that I'm capable of doing that to someone, and then it felt like him, if that makes sense.
Right. Yep.
So I remember calling my dad from the payphone at school, and I said, "Dad, you got to come pick me up. I've got to get out of here." The principal, everyone got involved. I didn't get in trouble for the fight, which was really strange, but they found out what was going on at home, the school, and then I got a lot more support. I got counselling and stuff like that. And from that day, I went to live with my dad. So my dad come pick me up, and I never went back, except for every second weekend. So when every second weekend kept going back. And again, like, what do you do in situations like you either sit down and you crumble and poor me, oh, this is happening to me. I'm like, that's never been who I am. So I just decided to use it as fuel. Like, he used to call me like every name under the sun. I was quite small frame. Like, I was a skinny kid. Like, I was always fit. Always played sport. His son was really overweight, and he would always call me stick figure, stick this, stick that. Like, always, and just put me down. Like, no matter what I did, all the way up until I was like early 30s, he'd be putting me down. No matter what, like all the time, because they were together. My stepdad and mum were together till I was about 34, and then I actually moved back home when I was an adult to get her out because I knew shit was still going on. Like, I still knew it was going on. Yep. And now she split from him, which is good. And she's met the nicest, one of the nicest men I've ever met in my life, which is good. Yep. So yeah, it's pretty deep, but that's where I just want to live life to be the happiest person and the most driven, and yeah, life's too short to be a fucking complainer and whinge.
Yeah, for sure. No, I really appreciate you sharing that. I know you've shared it in circles that I've been a part of before, and I think it's such a powerful story that gives context to who you are as a man and who you are as a father. And, you know, you're the dad of 5. How have those experiences shaped how you carry yourself, conduct yourself, the love that you show to your kids? What has that impact been? And how does that show up in behavior? Yeah,
look, honestly, it's the hardest. It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. So I met my wife. So I was in a 7-year relationship before I met my wife. It was an okay relationship, but it wasn't great. Right, so I left that relationship. I was single for about 4 years, and I never wanted kids, ever. It's like, I used to remember I told my ex, I don't want kids. Like, I don't want kids. I'm not. And then I would just always tell myself that. But it was a defense mechanism for what happened when I was younger. So I was like, I'm never going to be a dad. I don't want to be a dad. I don't want that responsibility because of what I went through. You know
Right.
what I mean? So then 2018, it was November 2018 actually. I was on a job, a personal trainer to a Russian billionaire actually, and he was based out of Cairns. And before we were going to Europe, he was doing basically an Australian tour, and yeah went to the Gold Coast and I met my now wife. I knew her from before through the gyms and just through training. And I remember we added each other on Facebook, as you do, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I remember just messaging her saying, "Hey, I'm going to be at the Gold Coast at this time and this day. Do you want to catch up for a drink?" And one thing led to another. We caught up, and it was like just instant fucking connection. It was absolutely
Fireworks.
it was never felt it in my entire life. She had 4 kids. I was single. Obviously, we had a really good night. One thing led to another, and then I was going to. And the next day, I was leaving to go to Europe. So basically, say goodbye. But we stayed in touch the whole time I was over there. It was about 4 months I was over there, so I stayed in touch the whole time, and then got back. And that contract with that personal training contract came to an end, and I moved back and yeah, we started seeing each other a little bit, me and my wife Lou, and yeah, just she had 4 kids, and it was just that was like it was really rough in the beginning of our relationship, like extremely hard because she had 4 kids. It was stopping me from really opening up and giving my full self to her and the children, and yeah, as time went on, I realised that I was doing a pretty good job in communicating with her kids, showing them love because their father is an absolute animal as well. It's very similar to my stepdad, very mentally abusive, narcissistic, and just really not a good human. So I was showing them love. They were opening up to me. And there was always those troubles. There was always different relationship with each one of the children. But as time went on, we become closer and closer. And then Louise fell pregnant with my now son Luca. So she fell pregnant at the start. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want you to keep him. I don't want to keep him because of that. Again, defense mechanism kicked in.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, I
You're
can't
saving
do
your,
it. I,
you're
I
saving
could be,
yourself.
yeah, I could be a pretend dad to your kids, but I don't want to. That's too much commitment to be full. Though this is anyway. Then the tables sort of flipped. Then I wanted to keep him, and Lou didn't want to keep him, and because it was so hard with our relationship, with me walking into 4 kids from not wanting kids was huge. It was extremely hard for me to overcome. But then Luca was born, and it was almost like he was the final piece of the puzzle to the whole family. And then from then, when he was born, it just everything got better. Everything got better. I opened up to the kids a lot more. They opened up to me a lot more. And now, again, it's still really challenging and it's not easy. And I still have a lot of triggers from when I was growing up that come into the relationships I have with each one of the children. But these children depend on me. They know, like, their dad's not around anymore. About 2.5 years ago, he wrote them a message saying it's best. We wrote my wife a message saying it's best I don't see the kids anymore. And I just said, how as a fucking father can you say that? Like, how can you do that? So me being a dad isn't a normal being a dad. So I've got to have, like, even the relationship I've got with Luca, I still treat them all the same, but it's a different kind of love to what I have with them. Does that make sense? Because when it's your own blood, it's different. But at the same time, you would understand that it's different. Like, it doesn't mean it's negative. It's that's our dynamic, and absolutely love it. And it's helped me grow. As if you had met me 3-4 years ago, completely different person than what I am now. So not only has fatherhood helped me and being a dad helped me mature as a man, but it's also taught me to love again and love like without expectation, love unconditionally, especially to the boys that need it, the ones that come from their father that to basically abandon them. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, a lot of similarities there in that story. Obviously, you know that I have an 11-year-old stepson. You know, we won't get into the dynamics of his father and now my partner. But now, after I walked into that relationship, right, when it was just him and her and I, and then now we have Ruby, and just like you said, it's like that puzzle piece that brings us all together, and the dynamic changes
Yeah.
in me, the growth in me as a human, just seeing that love. I mean,
Mm.
I always wanted to be like the Lone Ranger, traveling, doing my own thing, entrepreneur, living in a van, whatever. But now I'm like, no, I can never imagine not having this little girl's love as part of
Oh,
my life. And like she walks into the room and it's like, my day is already
yeah.
complete. It's only 5
Yeah.
a.m. What's up?
Exactly. I know.
So that's amazing. What is that area of growth for you as a dad right now? Obviously, Luca's 4 now. Where are
Yeah.
you growing right now? Like, what's the challenge? What are you growing?
Growing as a father is really learning to listen more. Like, I'm very, obviously from the military, very disciplined, very, like, can be very regimented, and my expectations are super, super high. But what I went through as a child and what I went through, not many people have, and it equipped me with skills that not many people have. And I used it as fuel to be the person I am today. But my expectations are very high. So one thing I'm not good at is listening to. We've got a 16-year-old Jamison, and he's an absolutely amazing kid. He's got a passion for fishing. He's just I've never seen someone so passionate about something, and he's just so passionate about fishing. He's so good at it, but at the same time, he's gone through a lot of trauma that I don't understand. I sort of do, but I don't understand. And then when he doesn't do things that I ask or say, then it can really be hard. Like it can really be hard for me. So I'm really trying to learn to listen. This is Luca.
Luca, what's up, man?
Daddy,
What's
Mommy,
up?
I don't
That's all right. You don't have to go to school yet, okay?
I can stay home.
Yeah, you can stay home with me. All right, go and get the iPad.
And I can't go to school.
No, you don't go to school.
Yeah, no school
Say
party.
bye. Say bye. Shut the door for me. So that's like
The
I've got
the perfect interruption for a dad
yeah,
project podcast.
No,
but I've got an open door policy.
no.
Luca, can you please go out, mate?
He's
That's all right.
I'm not play the game in here.
Yeah, you can play. Go get it and then come back. So yeah, so I've got an open door policy, and I think this is great for the podcast as well. Everyone's so caught up with. Everyone's so caught up with. Oh, don't come in, this and that. Like open door policy. We've got the ability to work at home.
No,
If my son, he's 4 years old, comes in, his emotions are different to ours. So he needs me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what meeting I'm on either. If I'm on a meeting with executives, whatever, I'll do this because he needs me, and we're all human beings.
Yeah. I just put out a podcast this morning and the clip was, presence over perfection.
What's that? Exactly
And
right.
like
And that,
he
yeah,
this is not perfect, right? We're like, hey, you need to show up right now. And that's what we're here
exactly
for.
right.
Beautiful.
And exactly, and like showing up for, like I was talking about with going back to Jamison, it's really like I need to learn to listen more because sometimes I don't listen enough. Like I won't listen as much as I need to, and then really creating a space for him to open up, and then so working on just becoming better because I think as fathers and as people like me and you as well, our expectations are high. We always want the best for ourselves. Like we want to make sure we're always on, but sometimes you're not always on. You have a really hard day and you're not
Yep.
emotionally available for them, and it's really hard to manage and regulate like the two different feelings. Like you've got work or business that you're worrying about, plus then the emotion of your kids. I think like there's certain things I'm working on, and like once my work day's finished, my phone's away, I put it on Do Not Disturb, and I spend time with them. I listen to them, listen to their stories. Sometimes they, like Emmett, our middle one, never shuts up. He's like the absolute class clown. He's absolutely hilarious. Like he walks in going, like reenacting Shark Tank. So like doing the funniest things and like making us laugh. And then the other little one, Grayson, he's in year 6. He's school captain, and he's the smart one of the family. He's really like academic, super, 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 super switched on. Gets the best grades, all that sort of stuff. So it's all this different dynamic, and I guess I'm learning to just accept them all for who they are and how different they all are, because they need to be who they are, not try and be someone that I want them to be.
And I think the beautiful part of that you're bringing out, and I think you and me both are still learning, is like they're all so different than you. And even if you have these expectations of, discipline and being physically fit and all of these things, if you're bringing all of that into the conversation, into the listening, right? And that's, you and I both have a strength of like making decisions and just can go with it. But like oftentimes that overused, right? When we overuse that strength, we're not listening.
Exactly
Like,
right. And
how do I slow down and just listen and like accept them for who they are and like,
yeah,
okay, that's what we're doing. Like,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly right. Exactly.
yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Something I love to ask, being a veteran, you're a veteran, a Navy diver, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, a Navy diver. What are the lessons from the Navy that you bring into your role as a parent, as a dad these days? What have you taken from the Navy that you use?
So definitely that, like, hard work. You need to do hard work. Like, hard work is needed no matter what you're doing. You have to work hard. You can't complain. Don't bitch and moan. There's something in front of you, and it's a problem. Like our eldest again, Jamison works at KFC now, and he gets in the car. And last night he actually got in the car. He's like, "Oh, I was on with this kid, and he's just like this really like every time a long order comes in, he disappears, and he has to go to the toilet. And he does this." And I said, "Okay, how can we look at that? What do you do when that happens?" He goes, "I just go in there and do it, and I get in front of the order, and I make the order happen, and I push the order out." And then I say, okay, so that's making you look better. That's making you look really good. And the more you do that, you should be looking at it as an opportunity to be great instead of complaining about it and saying, oh, I have to do it all the time. You just go and do it. And he's like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's good. So I said, don't complain about it. Use it as that's a superpower for you now. So you can go in there. If you're working with this guy, you just get it done. Don't complain. Adapt and get it done. That's the biggest thing. Adaptation to shit environments, or when things aren't going your way, adapt.
Yeah,
And be able to learn to adapt.
it seems so simple, right? And it's one of those things in the military that's just beat into you, like immediate obedience to orders, right? Just do it, and it'll be done with. And there are obviously different reasons for that, but so many adults, dads as well as kids, will sit there and complain and complain and complain. It could have already been done. Right.
Exactly.
You're already done. You've already moved on. So I think that's good. Let's get to your 3 principles that you shared with me. And I really want this to be focused on what are the behaviors? What does that look like? So when there are other dads listening to this, they can learn from you behaviorally how to execute as a high level as a dad. The first one you shared, we've already kind of hit on it, is discipline. What does that mean to you, and what does that look like to you on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
Look, kids need I've got you need to let them be who they are as kids and as people, because they are little adults. They're little adults, little humans. So you need to let them be, but they also thrive off discipline. So my wife is very I'm the disciplined one. I'm the bad cop most of the time. She's not, and that it works in the dynamic of our family though, because they know they love the discipline. When I go away for work, when I come back, they're like, where are they? Like hugging me, throwing something. They don't leave me alone. So discipline is needed, and I think people get the term discipline wrong, and they think it's real negative and it's not a good thing. Where it is a great thing, and it develops their brain, it develops who they are and how they make decisions. Discipline is 100% needed, and it's again, people look at it as a negative thing, like discipline. Oh, you're too hard on them. Okay, well, that's your perception of what you think is too hard on them, but. What was it yesterday? Not last night, the night before. Our middle youngest, Grayson, he stayed up way past his bedtime to about 10 o'clock, and he knows he's not allowed to do that. He's supposed to be in bed at 8 o'clock and go to sleep. And the next morning he was grouchy, he was yelling at the other brothers, he was not good. And then last night when he got home, I said, you're going to bed at 7 o'clock tonight because you were tired, and you carried on like an absolute clown this morning, and that's because you're tired. And then he's crying, oh, I'm not going to stomping around the house. I said, right, you're grounded now. And then he actually when he went for school captain, he said, can you help me with my speech? So I helped him with his speech, everything, and then he got selected for school captain. And when he was angry yesterday, he's like, oh, you didn't even care that I got school captain. Like all emotion. You didn't even really congratulate me. I said, hang on a second. I said, go back to who did you come to and who helped you when you were doing your speech? And you. So think about what you're saying to me right now, because that's upsetting me. That's hurting my feelings. So I did that, and then anyway, this morning when he woke up, he went to bed at 7 o'clock last night. This morning when he woke up, 6:30, he walked straight up to me, gave me a massive hug and a kiss, and said, "Thanks, Benji, for sending me to bed last night at 7 o'clock. I feel so much better, and I'm refreshed."
Yeah.
So
I think there's 2 threads in there I want to pull on. One, something I try to instill is actions have consequences,
Exactly.
right? And
100%.
like those natural consequences are a beautiful thing, but
Mm,
you being able to listen, to
mm,
remain grounded, and then
mm.
explain like, hey, I want you to take a second. This is now hurting my like this is now hurting me, hurting my feelings. Is that true? Being
Mm,
able to have that rational
mm,
conversation, I think that's
yeah,
something that is missed often when we just react, right? And we're not willing to like
yeah,
have an adult conversation with a young
yeah,
adult
exactly.
and actually
Hard though,
explain
like
what's happening.
it hasn't come easy. Like I've had massive, like times when I've absolutely blown my lid and just lost it. Like when our 16-year-old has
Yeah,
spoken back to me or spoken back to his mum and told her to F off. And what happens is they're going through puberty and they're growing and I've lost
yeah,
it. And it's just been, I'm like, why did I, like, that's not good. I lost it. That's fail. Like I failed. I yelled and screamed and carried on like it's like a dick. I mean, I
yeah,
shouldn't do it.
yeah,
Shouldn't
yeah.
go. But again, I think you've got to go through those failures to then get to the point where you can go, all right, this is how I'm going to act. And yeah, that was a really good example of discipline that Grayson. I gave the discipline. A lot of people said, "Oh, 7 o'clock's too early," and well, he said, "Like that's all right," but well, I did it. I did it, and he came and thanked me. Like
Yeah.
it was really
So
good. In my head, I'm like, "That's a win. Yes, that's good."
yeah, I want to pull on something you said there. You said, I've learned and I've grown through,
Mm,
I've lost my cool. And I've obviously had those experiences. I think any dad who's listening to this has had those times where you're just like,
mm.
explosion, right? Afterwards, you're like, oh my gosh. Did you have a process or were you able to revisit those situations with Jameson or with Emmett and say, like, hey, last night I lost my cool? Do you revisit
100%.
those?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I've done that. I've sat down with Jamison mostly, and that's the one that he's like the hardest one because he's 16 and he thinks he's an adult. He's not. But, so he's the hardest. And we have like there was a week ago he wasn't allowed to do something because of a certain reason. I think his mum asked him to do something, he didn't do it, and then he asked to do something, and we said no, and he carried on. He stomped around. He was like, and then I sort of lost it a little bit and said, get to your fucking room, go in there and stay there. No one wants to see this shit. Stop clunking around and smashing shit and like slamming doors. So I sent him to his room, and then the next day I revisited, and again he woke up and said, thanks for sending to my room. Boom, boom. And I said, do you realise why we said no? And the way you carried on was just absolutely ridiculous. I said, you want to be treated like an adult and a 16-year-old like the oldest brother, but then you carry on like Luca, who is 4, when you
Right.
don't get your own way. So
Yeah.
we visited, he understood, and he's like, no, I 100% agree. I said, so why, is there a reason why you do that? And he said, not really, I don't really know. I said, well, let's work on that next time. You're not allowed to do something. Maybe you have a different response. Says, okay, Mum, Benji, that's fair. I didn't do what you asked me to do, so now I'm not being allowed to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's fair. So, yeah, hopefully it happens, but not expecting it to. No expectation, but hopefully
Right.
that happens.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful practice that, from the military or from, you
Mm,
being the CEO of a company. What is that after action review? Hey, last night this happened.
mm,
What caused it? What were you feeling? How did you handle it? How did I handle it? What can we
mm.
do better for each other next time?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly
I
right.
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not like this is recent. Like me and Jamison, like it would be really hard. Like we were butt heads non-stop, and because I'm very disciplined and very structured in how I am with
Yep.
them because they need it, they love it, but at the same time we butt heads. So it's gotten so much better. We had a massive blow up about 2 months ago, but it's gotten so much better now. And I think that blow up was needed, and it happened for a reason for us to really understand that. All right, we've got to work together here, not against each other, and it's been
Yeah.
amazing ever since. It's been so much better.
Yeah. We're a team. How do we move
Exactly.
forward? Yeah.
Exactly.
Number 2, resilience.
Yeah.
What does that
So
mean to you?
resilience means to me, obviously, again, through my childhood, everything I've been through, really trying to install into them that life is fucked, life is hard, life is brutal, life is more negative than positive every single day. But it's what you do with those negative situations or those challenging situations to turn it into a positive and be who you want to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you need like resilience in, all right, I'm going to school today and someone's saying this to me. I'm getting teased, or I'm getting abuse hurled at me, or I haven't got the best results in my math test. But did I study enough for it? You need to build that resilience inside you. So when you go as a child, so when you get into the workforce, when you get older, you're not complaining and being the victim. everyone these days is a fucking victim, and I really work exceptionally hard to make sure our children are not playing the victim, because most people out there in life, 99% play the victim.
Yeah. And I'm going to jump around a little bit. The last question I was going to ask is from our previous guest, John McCormick. He's a lieutenant colonel in the Marine Corps, still active duty. He gave the question for you, and it's how do you plan to build resilience in your kids? So I think obviously this being one of your principles, how do you build that resilience?
Lead by example. My actions will speak louder than any words. I can say anything to them, though, like how I act. So every morning I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm in the gym at 4 a.m. They see me and hear me come home. Then they'll see me go off again at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll see me go off to the gym. So through what I'm doing as a man, with my business, with everything I'm doing, they can see that. So they're not seeing me roll out of bed at 8 o'clock in the morning, or they're not walking past my room on the way to school and I'm still lying in bed, half asleep. I'm fit. I look good. I get comments from some of their friends, like with one of their friends goes to the same gym as I go.
Who's this buff dad?
Yeah. One of his friends, Lincoln, goes to the same gym as I go to, and he's like, apparently said to him at school, "Holy fucking shit, your dad's arms are like the size of my head," like something like that. But that is, when he gets that person say that to him, that would prop him up and make him feel confident, make him feel like, oh, I'm proud. So actions, there's nothing else in life, in the absolute universe, in the world, speaks louder than the way you act as a man, even the way you speak to your wife. And it's not always perfect. Like me and my wife have arguments sometimes, we have disagreements, and sometimes it's not perfect, right? But leading through your actions and knowing that every action that you take, they're watching every step.
A guest, again, the podcast I just released today, Miles Davis, one of his principles was show your work. And I think it ties in perfectly. Leadership by example. Let them see you go to the gym. Let them see you have deep, meaningful conversations with your wife. Let them see you do the messy work. And set that example of resilience, of discipline, of all these things that you're sharing. I think it's a beautiful concept.
Even affection, like love, is like you show your wife love in front of your kids. Like I kiss my wife in front of the kids, and little one Emmett goes wah 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 wah. It goes like that. Or like starts like whistling, but they see that, and it's like, okay, that's good.
You're the example for them with their future partners.
Exactly.
Right? And you're setting the right example, and that transitions perfectly. Your last principle is love.
Lead, and that's what I've gone through my whole life. Lead with love. Love is the most powerful feeling. It's the most powerful action. It's the most powerful thing you can bring into any relationship, whether it's business, and people say don't mix business and love and personal. That's bullshit. Like, I love every one of my employees. Love them. I fucking love them. I think they're incredible people. They're incredible humans. I love my wife. I love my friends. I love you. It's such a powerful tool that we have as human beings. When you radiate that energy and that emotion to people, it brings people together. Obviously, the right type of people. Like, you've got to have. There's certain people that are like, not anywhere near them. They're not taking my love, or they're not taking any of my energy. But it's so powerful. People don't realize how powerful love is.
Yeah, and I can speak from experience. You definitely lead with that, so you're not just blowing smoke for the podcast. And I think that is such a beautiful thing, because it's infinite. People think love is a finite resource. It is not.
People are scared. People are scared of it because of past experiences. But it's like, you fall off a bike once, you're not going to ride a bike again. Like,
right?
You know what I mean? Like,
people associate it with romantic love, and I think this is where men get tripped up.
Yes.
Right. It's like you will literally grab me and give me the biggest hug.
Fucking earth, and you feel it.
You feel it. You feel the love, and I think more men need to be able to do that, because they're like, oh, you're this or you're that.
I kiss my friends all the time.
Yeah, grow up, Peter Pan.
Exactly.
I'm coming in for the real thing. I love it.
Exactly.
Right. Benji, this has been beautiful. 2 more questions. I think I know where you're going to go with this one. What is that habit or routine that serves you and sets you up for success as a dad?
Yeah, definitely my fitness. Definitely fitness, doing hard shit, and getting up in the morning and just, like, whether it's jumping in the cold plunge, sauna, whether it's doing, like this morning I did a sprint workout and an air bike workout. So whether it's that, lifting weights, feeling strong, that's what sets me up to be Just and people are going to go, oh, you don't have to be a good dad. You don't have to go to the gym to be a good dad. I think that's bullshit. I think every man,
I agree.
they're not strong and they're not like you're not walking with confidence as a man, how men should walk, then I don't think you're not setting yourself up to be strong and to lead with strength and love at all.
Yeah, and I think it even goes another level deeper or adjacent in that you are demonstrating what healthy looks like.
Exactly.
You are demonstrating health and wellness physically, mentally, emotionally. They all play a part. And if you are overweight, slob, lazy, weak, that's the example.
Exactly.
And I can't tell you, we all see it. I can't tell you how sad it is, and this may rub some feathers, right? But how sad it is when you see overweight parents, extremely overweight, and then you see young kids who are just obese. They didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance.
I cannot stand it. It grinds my gears, and I'm like, and I run a company, CEO of the company in 2 different countries, well, actually 5 different countries now, but I'm up, I've got calls from 4:30 in the morning, sometimes 4 kids. When people come to me and say, I don't have time to go to the gym, or don't have time to even go for a walk or do something towards their health and fitness, it's fucking crap. It's make the time. Get up, I do twice a day, I'm training. Because it's needed. And if it wasn't twice a day, I'd make sure the morning session was an hour and a half long. So I can really, really just feel and set that example.
Yeah, 100%. All right, last question, Benji. If you were going to send a text message to every dad and they were going to read it, what is your message?
Lead with love.
Lead with love. Benji, that is a great way to wrap you as a human, you as a dad, father of 5, from 4 to 25. You're doing it. You're also leading an international marketing company. You're doing it all, man. Setting that example. Lead with love. I truly appreciate you being here, man. I love you.
Love you too,
Where
bro.
can people follow and support you?
Superfit Benji is my Instagram handle, and Facebook, just Benjamin Donhardt. Just jump on and have a chat, send a message. Always open to meeting new people. Always.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. We'll make sure we put that in the show notes, guys. If you like this episode, please give Benji a follow. And wherever you listen or watch, give us a 5-star review, leave us a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.